And we're live.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you again for turning into another episode of MovieCast, where I am your host, Dana Abercrombie, and I am always joined by Richard Bailey Jr. Richard, how are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good. Trying to stay warm here in Atlanta. How about you, Dana? How are you doing?
I am alive. It's pretty okay weather wise in New York City. Weird touches of cold and followed by heat, but it's just weird.
Well, it's good to hear. Everything's going good. Yes.
Yes, yes. Better than California. So, yes. No landslides today. We're gonna start off really quickly. There was a slew of TV shows that were announced. They're gonna be adaptations of what we previously loved before. So it's adaptations and reboots. We're gonna start off really quickly with there is a Crazy Rich Asians inspired TV show. And we know that the movie was very popular, it was very successful, it was downright very beautiful. This one is going to be written by the very same author of Crazy Rich Asians, which is Kevin Wong. It is going to star Kim Kim Jong, who everyone knows from all of the Hangover movies, and he will be is called the Emperor of Malibu, and is going to be, like I said, it's going to be co-written by Kevin Wong. Um, and in the series, it's about a guy named Augie and the son of a Chinese tech billionaire who announces his engagement to an American woman that forces his outrageous family to basically descend upon the couple in order to win their son back. And they also get like a different perspective of what the American dream is. So in the TV show, he will play Gary, the Chinese tech billionaire, who brings the whole family to Los Angeles to see if they can persuade Augie to rethink his engagement. And how it connects to Crazy Rich Asians is basically in the movie, without spoiling much, the family was very angry that their son ran off to America and found this Chinese American woman to marry, and they wanted him to marry a pure Chinese woman. So it will pull out a lot of themes from Crazy Rich Asians. Obviously, he was from the movie. I don't know whether or not they will have other actors or actresses that were from the movie. If Aquafina might make an appearance, that would be really fun. So that is one of the things that they announced for today. Another thing that got rebooted, I'm kind of like angry about because I'm a huge fan, but NBC has decided to reboot Ugly Betty, and that there will be a cast reunion that will appear on an episode of Superstore, which is also at NBC. The father will appear on the show. It's not going to be like a full blown cast reunion with Vanessa Williams and everything else. The reboot, basically, it's going to be pretty much of the same kind of story. Where it's, we follow this very young woman who wants to enter into the fashion industry in the big city, and she does not look very attractive according to industry standards, and about her finding herself and her self-confidence. This show originally that was created in 1999 for NBC, like it was off the air for like a while. It's been 10 years kind of since we've seen America Fiera. In this version, we are going to get a mix of English and Spanish. So some Spanglish in there. It'll be really fun. They want to be more embracive with diversity. So that is always something that is really great. But they're gonna stay very true to her unique style. Remember, had the braces and everything, and she wants to start in a New York City. It's a New York City company where again it's very posh and polished. And instead, she is going to be like this huge feminist. So that is kind of what's a little bit different and kind of what's going to be a little great about it. I'm not sure if you ever watched Ugly Betty before. Have you? Was you like do you even know of the show?
Oh yeah, I've heard of the show. Never had the opportunity to watch it though.
Oh,
It
that's
sounds good.
you're like, yay, that's amazing. That's awesome. So yes, so those who are interested in the reboot and like their shows being rebooted, that is great. But also a little fact: the Ugly Betty story holds the 2010 Guinness World Record as the most successful telenovela to date, that aired in 180 countries and was translated into 15 languages. So that's pretty amazing. And also, it will be simulcast on Telemundo. So yay! We are also by Kevin Smith, who is a huge fan of all things comics, and he is very excited to write this new series, and it will be R-rated. So he's gonna have a lot of fun with Howard the Duck, and it will be streaming on Hulu. So that should be really fun and really interesting. Those who don't know, Kevin Smith has done a lot of movies. He's also been heavily involved in DC Universe. He loves all things Marvel as well. He just loves comic books. He's one of those guys you don't really see him participate.
Yeah, I was gonna say your audio was cutting.
Participating as no one.
Yeah, I was gonna say your audio's
There's
been
not.
audio's been cutting in and out. So just to let you know.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so he. What did you not hear from it?
Well, no, I heard the rest of it. Like when you
Oh,
started
okay.
when you mentioned Kevin Smith. Before that, I didn't hear anything. So it should be fine now, though. I think everybody understands we've heard enough to know what you're talking about. So you're good.
Okay, well, that is basically what's happening. We are going to get it. It's a Hulu series. We don't have a date yet, but it sounds exciting for Howard the Duck fans and those who've never heard of Howard the Duck. Now you can introduce yourself to something that's going to be really fun, and it's R-rated, so that is not bad at all. Moving on, we are getting a little tiny bit of details about the Loki TV series that is going to be starring Tom Hiddleston. So it will have the cast, those who can make it into the TV show, and it also just now released who their show writer is going to be and their showrunner, which is going to be Michael Waldron. Those is Rick and Morty. So expect a lot of humor and a lot of like ridiculousness out it. So it will be a time traveling, shape shifting trickster who influences various people in historic events. Really, not much detail is known about it. So it's basically the Loki that we already know and what we've seen throughout the movie series. Um, but this, it could be something that's really good. And then the writer is pretty successful, and this will join the Witch adaptation. So this could be something that's very fun. I hope it doesn't suck. I don't see it sucking, and it will stream on Disney Plus. There's really no launch date for the service, but it is expected to drop later this year. So look forward to that. Moving on, we are having a TV adaptation of a movie that I've known of when I was very young, which is A League of Their Own. Remember the Tom Hanks movie many years ago about the baseball team, all female baseball team?
Oh yeah, I'm familiar with that movie.
So now, many years. See, this is what I like about it. It's the fact that it's taken many years. The League of Their Own was released in 2000. Nope, nope, sorry, in 1992. So that's a decent amount of time. It's now 2019 to reboot something. So that is something that is going. That's I appreciate. I don't know whether or not it'll be good, but I appreciate it. But this will be coming from Amazon. So Amazon will have some more streaming service, I mean, more TV shows to stream, which is pretty good. It was a very successful movie. With this one, they are starting with a brand new cast because obviously everyone is much older and some members have probably passed away. I don't really see Madonna appearing in it at all, but it's going to start with an entire brand new cast. And there really wasn't much details aside from we can all assume it's going to be about the fictionalized account of the real life World War II era All American Girls Professional Baseball League. So that should be fun if it works out.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So moving on, I know excited how excited you are for anything that's Transformers. I know it makes you all happy inside.
No, I have no idea what you're talking about. That's
Ah,
the
please.
Bumblebee movie was good, but the rest of them Transformers movies, nah, son, that's a thumbs down. So
You went through all those Transformers movies. Day one, you was right there getting the tickets. So it's okay to admit your love for Transformers.
yeah, I don't know about all
No
that.
one will judge you. You cried during Robot Heaven. It's okay.
Oh no.
Oh, Netflix has basically partnered with Hasbro with they are deciding to bring Transformers for Cybertron. So this is the origin story of the Transformers universe. So those who have never seen a Transformer movie, doesn't really know anything about the series or anything about the franchise or just only own a toy, they will now be introduced into the world of the Transformers universe. It will launch in 2020, so you have a little bit of time to familiarize yourself with it. But the producers have promised that the series will feature a new animation look and style, and it will show the alien robots as they've never been before. That is the most vaguest description ever. So, if you like your Transformers, you will have your vague Transformer TV show. That is just basically, they said, an origin story, and it will explore the expansive universe of Cybertron in a way that audiences, like I said, never seen before, and will delight to existing fans and those coming to the franchise for the first time. So they are guaranteeing that you will be delighted no matter where you come from with this Transformers TV show. So that will hit Netflix, like I said, later on, and I know that you're excited about that, and you're looking forward. Their cartoon series doesn't suck, so
Yeah, I mean,
that is also
I'm sure the series will be all right, but we'll see. Just as long as Michael Bay isn't involved, then yeah, then I will definitely watch it.
oh come on, you know you love some Michael Bay. All he does is have explosions every 5 seconds.
Yeah, nah, we'll pass on that if he is involved.
Uh, Now we all know that many years, not many years ago, but like what 2 years probably ago, it was announced that Ben Affleck will be writing the Batman solo movie, and since then he's done. I feel that he was the best Batman that was given the most disservice to. He didn't have the ability to really flex his Batman wings, and that he could have been really great right up there with Christian Bale and all the I am for blinking on the other one of the
Michael
other
Keaton.
Batman. Michael Keaton. I just blanked on Michael Keaton, or even Adam West. So, yeah, he was supposed to write the original Batman movie, the solo Batman movie, and it was set that it was going to release very soon. And the thing is, we never really got an explanation as to why not only Ben Affleck dropped out of directing it, he dropped out of writing it. He will have nothing to do with it. And instead, Matt Reeves decided to go with a whole different approach where we're going to get a much younger Batman, so like teenage Batman, and hopefully not like a baby Batman right after his parents was killed. And I really hope that they don't go over and over again over his parents being killed, because we've seen it 15,000 times before. And at this time, but there is a why Ben Affleck felt that it was best for him just to leave. And it had nothing to do with the downfall of Justice League and the terribleness of Suicide Squad. He stated on an episode of Jimmy Kimmel Live that he and worked with a really good screenwriter, but just couldn't come up with a version. Affleck said about what led him to put him, this is what would led him to just say he couldn't do it anymore, was that he couldn't crack it. It seemed like a very honest admission. He just could not do it. And that was the very same reason Josh Whedon gave for no longer doing Batgirl. Remember, he was supposed to write and direct Batgirl, and his reason was he just couldn't figure out how to do it. So at least he's honest with his answer. I don't know if he's like, it was a staged answer or not. He just didn't really care. But the statement was honest. Any thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's very, very public knowledge that Ben Affleck has had a lot of issues, personal issues in his life that he has had to deal with. So I'm pretty sure some of that also, was a factor in his focus on this particular project as well as other projects. So I think if he needs to take time away to focus on what's more important, I 100% think he should do that. Because as you have already stated, they did not do his character justice in any of these other movies. So he would have been fine as a good Batman, but I don't think they utilized him as well as they could have. So this is for the best. That's what I will say.
Yeah, that is, he been through rehab. They shown, him and Jennifer Gardner basically standing by him when he had to go and check himself in, and at least, a lot of things I feel that came into play with him no longer being Batman, and he had to deal with a lot of personal issues, and I would prefer him, dealing with that instead of trying to do a movie. And who knows, maybe years later we'll get a Batman 2 and he can play older Batman and he'll end up writing and directing it. So he's not saying I don't want anything to do with it. He just can't do it right now. He can't crack it. So maybe now that he's clear headed, he'll be able to crack it one day eventually. So that would be a positive, at least for him. Because I really think that he's very talented. And I really like what he did with Town. I really like what he did with Argo. So we shall see. But moving on, we have this is video game related. So, yay excitement! There is new work from Neil Baumklim, who basically was the director of District 9, and his work includes an Anthem game collaboration with Conviction. So it's basically it's a short that was released online about the Anthem game. And those who haven't seen it, it's basically there's like a trailer that they released along with it, and it's a mother and she's dressed in very fine clothing, and she's telling the people who were once slaves, but they rebelled and gained their freedom, and they built walls to stay safe, and it's teasing that there will be other stories. So it's more like a little introduction short movie into a much larger Anthem universe. So it's online and it looks really cool. And it has kind of like this Star Wars type feel to it. Have you seen it yet?
I actually have not seen it. I saw that they released the trailer. I mean, I saw when they released the press release talking about that this short was coming. I just haven't had an opportunity to see it because I've been busy on multiple other things. But yeah, I have no doubt it looks great because any of the work that he has done in the past has always looked great. So I will check it out. Hopefully the game is as good as it looks. Because I'm skeptical on how the actual game is going to turn out. But yeah, I definitely will check out the short.
Okay, dokie. Well, it's set decades before the events of the game, so yay! They could do a whole prequel thing, and people are very excited about that. So that could be very good. And those who they are into, I know it's a very heavily anticipated game, so that's also a plus as well. So hopefully, it's really great marketing, and it could end up in a series. It could be on a streaming service, or it could be on YouTube. Remember, YouTube has their own streaming service.
Oh yeah, yeah. All of that is definitely possible. Um, I am just hopeful that the actual game delivers. I mean, I'm pretty sure that sales wise, the game will do okay, but in my opinion, this game has to do okay because BioWare, they cannot afford to have any other issues like they did with Mass Effect Andromeda. So hopefully it does turn out good for their sake. Um, but we'll see because the game will be out this upcoming Friday.
That is good. That is very good. So moving on, we are getting Apple streaming service. It's another streaming service I cannot afford. So it will be fun. But not much information has been released aside from the fact that Apple has signed dozens of TV shows and movies for its streaming video service, and that they will range anywhere between sci fi to comedy to drama and include star studded casts that, again, is very generalized. Um, Apple, instead of being very, you they have decided that they're not going to create or produce very violent type of shows and TV products. So it should be a very kid friendly streaming service that will have only a handful of TVMA shows. So instead, that they wanted to focus on comedies and emotional dramas. And by emotional dramas, I mean something like This Is Us, where you're crying in every episode. So those type of TV shows. Um, they have one show that will star Jennifer Aniston, Reese Witherspoon, and Steve Carell. So they've had big names, and they're also working closely with Oprah Winfrey on creating original content. So if you like Oprah and you like Reese and Jennifer Aniston, Apple TV will be for you. And it is also going to collaborate with Steven Spielberg to create like a new sci-fi series, and it will have very high budget. So they have all the money to do this. And they also stated that J.J. Abrams will be producing several TV shows for Apple, and one will star Jennifer Garner, and the other one will star Sarah Bareilles. So there you go. There's really not a price tag attached to it, but it could be exciting if you can afford it. All these streaming services are making it very hard for me to like. The purpose of having streaming service was to cut the cable prices down or just to completely get rid of cable. But when your streaming services all combined are starting to cost more than cable, this is getting a little out of hand. So,
Oh yeah. But I will say this. Glad to hear that they do have these other people involved with original content because that is ultimately is what is going to determine whether or not people actually want to check it out. If the shows if they didn't have any original content, then I would tell them they probably shouldn't bother with the streaming service because Hulu has original content, Netflix, Disney's going to have original content also. So yeah, Apple absolutely needs to have original content. But yeah, the price is also important because Netflix is going to be raising its price. So Disney's going to have a cheaper price than Netflix. So I'll be very curious to know what Apple charges when they actually come to that point.
and for me, Hulu dropped my price by $2, so I'm excited.
Oh, whoa. Oh, yeah.
I felt like a millionaire. I was beyond ecstatic. So, yay, those $2
Yes.
for me. Yay. Okay, now they just announced, I know something you're very excited for is cartoon. We are getting, this is a really great mashup, Batman versus Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. It will be a movie.
Hmm.
And it is an epic animated crossover movie. And it has come to you by obviously Nickelodeon and Warner Brothers Animation. And it will follow the book from James Tyan the Fifth and Freddie Williams the Second, and it will just it's gonna be the first time that they meet out of the comics. So you have the four brothers, right? And you have Batman, and basically they will team up and obviously defeat all of their own enemies. So Batman will be fighting whoever enemies are from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle and vice versa.
Wow. So Batman versus Shredder, the Ninja Turtles versus Joker, that type of
That kind of thing. And that actually is not good. The cast will be Troy Baker, who
Oh,
will play
okay.
Batman and the Joker. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Darren Criss will play Rafa. Kyle Mooney will play Michelangelo. Baron Vaughn will play Donatello. Eric Boza will play Leonardo. Rachel Bloom will be Batgirl. That's a really interesting Batgirl because Rachel Bloom has a very distinct voice. Tom Kenny, who was from SpongeBob SquarePants, will be Penguin. John DiMaggio will be Mr. Freeze. He's from Adventure Time. Tara Strong's in it because Tara Strong is in anything that's adapted into a cartoon.
Mm-hmm.
She will play both Harley Quinn and Poison Ivy. um, Carlos Azargullia, I'm pretty sure I butchered that, from Reno 911. We'll play Gain. Said Gain. We'll play Bane. Wow. And Cass Avir will play Ra Al Ghul. So that's a really good cast.
Oh yeah.
And there's no release date announced, but it will arrive on 4K Blu-ray and your regular DVD in digital HD later in the spring. That's kind of exciting. That can be really cool. Like I would want a series of that. But for now, we're just getting the movie.
Oh, I
Warner Brothers. Yeah.
Oh no, go ahead. No, I was just gonna say, yeah, I definitely will be checking that out.
Finally, something you're excited for.
Yeah, I'll check that out just to see how it is.
Yay! So moving on, we have a couple of trailers. Literally, it's like two major trailers that dropped. One is from this little independent studio called Disney. Is it Disney? Disney?
Yeah.
I'm not sure. They made something called Aladdin that just bombed completely. Released a trailer for that. But there's a new movie they dropped for the new trailer they dropped for a movie called Frozen. Is it Frozen 2? I'm not sure. You ever heard of that movie before?
Yes, I have heard of that movie.
Yeah, it's a small independent movie about like some ice and some queens.
Yeah.
I'm not sure, but like an ice was in there and like some queens was in there, and then there was a random reindeer and then a prince. But we've finally gotten the trailer for Frozen 2, and a lot of people are excited. They're so excited that is the most watched trailer, not in like the year or the decade, but ever. Ever. And people are very excited. There really is not hardly any news about it that's kind of like this is the plot and this is what happened, but it is the most watched animated trailer within a 24-hour time period. And that means that it has been watched by 116.4 million times. That's a lot of times. And within those times, that means a lot of people have been trying to analyze the movie, and it really doesn't say anything aside from you have one of the sisters. You had Elsa, who was the Ice Queen. She is trying to jump over what looks like a massive wave in the ocean, and she's using her ice skills to walk on water. Um, there's another scene where they're in a forest and it looks like fall, and they're traveling through the forest, and there's two characters we've never seen before. One, a boy who gets swept up in a pile of leaves, and there's a female who's right next to him looking in shock by it. You have Olaf, who this is the thing that really confuses me. Those who've watched the original Frozen would know that at the end of Frozen, in order to make sure that Olaf no longer melts and therefore die, Elsa creates this snow cloud that constantly snows and keeps him cold so he doesn't melt. But in the trailer, his little puff cloud is not there, and they're basically in the middle of the woods during autumn, what looks like autumn. So I'm confused about how that's going to work. Hopefully, it was just like a mistake, but that is another weird thing there. And so that is literally all that is pretty much known about Frozen 2. And I know you're extremely excited. You were singing Let It Go for the past 2 years. So, any thoughts on Frozen? I know you have tons of thoughts on that.
No, I see. I actually did not see the original Frozen. So what the good thing about this trailer is that now I know when the sequel's coming out, I have enough time to catch up and see see the first movie and get an idea of how they got to the sequel. But I did not know that information about it getting all those views in that short amount of time, which is that's pretty amazing right there.
Mm-hmm. Wait, you've never seen Frozen?
Oh no.
You're
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
funny.
Yeah. I definitely will see it now to catch up on it. But yeah, that sounds interesting. I mean, it looks great. The trailer looks great. So, just need to check out the first movie so I can have my context for the second movie.
That is good. And those who don't know, if you're not part of the 114 million people and views, it will release on November 22nd. So of this
Oh,
year.
well, see, that's more than enough time for me to see the first movie.
That is more than enough time. I know you're very excited, and you will finally be singing the song that was stuck in everyone's head for the past 20 years now. So, moving on, one of the trailers that China dropped was a trailer for Long Shot. This stars Seth Rogen and Charlize Theron, who it's basically a retelling of Pretty Woman, kind of, not really, except for there's no prostitution involved. Seth Rogen plays a down on his luck journalist who becomes kind of involved with a woman who's trying to run for the president of the United States. So to me, there was a movie with Michael Douglas many years ago with Annette Bening, and he was a single bachelor whose wife died, and he was president, and he ended up going on a date with Annette Bening, and it was about their whole dating process. And so it kind of reminded me of it. The movie is called The American President. So it kind of reminded me of it, like a remake of it, but it's not, even though it doesn't really feel original. But have you seen the trailer? Does it look exciting to you? There's a lot of comedy involved.
Yeah, I did see the trailer. I like Seth. I really do like Seth Rogen. Um, I like what he has been doing with Black Monday. So I definitely will check this out. Yeah. For as far as it being a lighthearted comedy, yeah, definitely something that I would check out. With that said, I'm not sure if it's a movie that I am would run to the theater like immediately and see like opening day on the theater. I mean, I doubt that. There are only a few select movies that I know I will do that. Avengers Endgame is one of those movies. But yeah, I definitely will see it because it looks funny, and we need to see some funny movies sometime.
That is true. That is very true. But I do know that you have more than just those two you're running to see. You have that new Tyler Perry movie that's coming out.
Oh no, that's Gary. He already got his advance tickets to go see that movie.
He's excited. They say Medea is gonna end after this. No more Medea.
Yeah, we'll see about that. And after Tyler Perry sees how much money that this makes in Atlanta, he may be like, okay, maybe I do need to do some more Medea movies.
Oh my gosh. Ah, that's
Now,
funny.
there is one thing I did want to say real quick. I don't want to interrupt the show,
Hmm.
but there is something that we absolutely positively need to talk about, and that is the trailer for Ma.
I had such a brain fart. And that, here's the thing, like the whole week I was excited, and then I just got this complete huge brain fart. Oh my, this is the movie where it's so good, I feel like I would pay to watch it. And that means that's like a lot coming from me because I'm someone who survives on like cup of noodles and I'm good.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, okay. That's how excited I am when I start just going, okay, okay, okay. So, okay, listen. All right. So you know this already because you saw it, and I got the email for it like right when it was gonna drop, and I was like, Octavia Spencer, a horror movie? What is this? And then I saw Bloomhouse, and I was like, oh my god, like this is a miracle of goodiness. We don't deserve this movie, and that's just by the trailer alone. Like I feel like I don't deserve this. We have Us that's coming out, and I'm like, oh, okay, that's probably going to be enough of the black horror movies that, is taken seriously by us. Because don't forget, there are plenty of black horror movies, but usually they end up on BET.
Yep. Hmm.
Okay. And by a big studio, and Bloomhouse is huge. They have made every horror movie that's been decent. They have made that. They are responsible for Halloween. They are obviously responsible for Happy Death Day. They are responsible. They even do TV movies that's on Netflix. There was like Happy New Year to You. That was pretty good. There's one about two people trapped in an elevator. That was pretty decent. So when I saw this with Octavia Spencer, and it was just the poster alone, I was like, oh my God, what's going home? Like I was confused. I originally thought that it was about a mother whose son was probably stopped by the police because it was like, make it home on time, something with like the poster on it. I was like, oh my God, it's gonna be really sad. But then I saw Bloomhouse and I'm like, this is weird. They don't really do this. And then I saw the trailer. Oh my God. Okay, you speak. Cause like I'm getting too excited.
So I did see the trailer, uh, and yeah, this movie looks great to me. Now, my particular situation, like I saw the trailer earlier when you had sent it to me a couple of days ago, and
Mm-hmm.
I thought to myself, okay, the concept, I understand the concept. Yeah, this movie looks great. I'm very curious to see Octavia Spencer. It's like I don't want to see too much of the trailer because I don't want them to give away all the stuff that's going on with the character. But yeah, I think it's going to be great. And then yesterday, there was another movie that I went to go see, which I will talk about here in a little while. But I saw the trailer again. But it's funny because the previews for that movie, like I right before that trailer, I saw the trailer of Greta, which is another movie with a crazy person, a crazy older person, getting involved with a teenager, so to speak.
Wait,
So
what
I
was the
thought that was
movie?
funny. The movie Greta.
Oh
Um,
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, they played that trailer right before this trailer. So I said, "Oh yeah, that's funny. That's funny. That's a nice little comparison right there." But no, this movie looks great. I'm curious. I'm happy that Octavia Spencer is doing some other things. So I'm very curious to see how she does with this particular role because I think this would be something that's very interesting for her. And I did
Yes.
see her in Instant Family as well. So
Mm-hmm. But
yeah,
she always plays like those motherly roles.
yes, but so
Who's the
now
one
she
who's
she so see now she is a mother, but a very twisted personality type of mother.
it's a great take on her career because usually she's like the comforter and she's always there and like people always run to her for advice. She's one of
Yes,
those type of characters, and I've had problems with that, you know, kind of role.
yes,
But this, oh my gosh. Okay, for those who don't know, it's a very simple concept. What it starts out with, there's a group of teenagers, they're underage, And you know, when you're young, well, not me because I'm not alcoholic, but you ask someone who's older, hey, mister, can you buy us some beer? And it's very simple. We'll give you, extra money for just buying this beer for us. We're young, we're dumb, we're stupid. We want beer. And usually somebody will say yes, they'll say no. They did this whole thing. This is something that's been done for the end of time. So they come across Octavia Spencer. Everyone else's turn. Like, no, I'm good. I don't want to do this. I don't feel comfortable. But then, they sweet talk her and she's like, oh, okay, cool. But guys, you're going to party and drink. I would prefer that you do it in my house. It's safe. I know where you're at. Put it where you won't get in trouble. But, it's going to be okay. And they're like, oh, well, she's this nice older woman, not older as in like grandma, but older than what they are, and she's very comforting. So they decide to go, and her house is literally in the middle of nowhere, and they're kind of like, why are we here? Because basically, we don't know this woman, and anything could happen. But they decide to go anyway because it's a plot in the movie. So they go in the basement, and everything seems to be really nice, and they seem to keep repeatedly. They go back and back to the basement to go and have parties. Like, it's just a really nice place to hang out, and you don't get in trouble, and you get to be young and dumb and do the things that you want to do that you would otherwise be embarrassed that your parents would see you do. She instead, she's really friendly with them and forms a bond, but not like in a weird, creepy way. But somehow she obtains their phone numbers and starts messaging them and keeps up this daily communication with them to the point where, plot twist, it becomes excessive. And they're like, why is this woman, trying to become so involved in our lives? It's making us very uncomfortable. And that is when the horror and the terror starts. There is a set of rules that Ma has. And one of the rules is you never go upstairs. Just stay in the basement, have fun, live life, and call me if you're dying. And they venture up upstairs, and what we see is a lot of maybe voodoo dolls and a lot of African artifacts. And come to find out, one of the daughters, their mom, went to school with Ma. And she ends up embedding herself into their lives even more, to the point where the parents, who were obviously didn't know what was going on because they don't seem to be that involved in the kids' lives as every other plot point goes, they're like, why are you hanging out with this woman all the time? It's not like, she's like 21, but is in her 40s, probably approaching 50. We went to school with her. I'm not comfortable with this. This is kind of odd. Where are you meeting her from? And that's when this pure horror ends up breaking out, to the point where she becomes very angry at the kids, and she starts turning on them because they're not showing her the same affection and love that they originally did, and that comfortability that she originally had. It's more like, get away. We don't want to hang out at your house. Oh my God, you're creepy. Run. And there's a scene where she seems to kidnap several of the kids and is performing something on them. Or one, she paints their face white. Another one, I see she's rubbing their body, which just seems to be an underwear, with a knife. We don't really know who the character is. And so it's just basically, it looks like, I'm assuming, a very great and intense and smartly done horror movie. So that's it.
Oh no, I agree with everything you said. I just want to say that I especially laughed when I saw the scene where it looked like she ran over somebody. Yeah.
Yes, it was so dumb. Where it was like, it was just a random scene where there's somebody in the road and it's literally in the middle of nowhere, and she runs them over, and the body just goes flying like, boop, and like that was it. And you're like, well, what did I just watch? And she, oh, hi, and then boop, and ran them over. So yeah, I'm excited for this. It's just the combination of Octavia Spencer and Blumhouse, and I'm like, yes, this is great. Black horror. And Octavia is amazing. So, and she has those same warm and fuzzy type of feelings, but she's crazy. So, yay. So yeah, that is something that I'm excited about. But moving on, after trying to calm down from my excitement for Ma, we are going to go into the box office report. Oh, and by the way, really quickly, Ma is released in theaters, not next year, not the year after, May 31st.
Yes, that's very
So
soon.
great, and she finally gets to be the villain. And we never see her as the villain. She's always the comforter. So moving on, we have some box office would do as we always do. We have some that may surprise you, some that you may not care about. But yay! Starting off with number one is a movie that looks really pretty but has no substance to it for me. Alita Battle Angel. Which 27. I know you guys love Alita. Basically, the avatar of robots. $27.8 million, Alita Battle Angel. Moving in at number two was a movie that wasn't as great as the first one, but still really fun. And it had a lovely plot line and involved the human world. With 21.2 million is the Lego Movie 2, the second part. So,
Wow,
yeah.
interesting.
Now, making its debut, 3 is a movie that I thought would be much lower, but I really would have loved to seen it if it was on Netflix because it looks so much fun. If you're a fan of anything that is rom-com, that would be Isn't It Romantic with $14.2 million.
Wow, interesting.
Ah,
Interesting.
yeah. So this movie is now down, was originally from the number 2 spot, is now at the number 4 spot, and taking in 10.9 million would be What Men Want. That's pretty, yeah, that's pretty, I would expect that. Now, this is the interesting part. The movie that I thought would be number 2 is actually number 5, and it's making its debut with 9.8 million, and that is Happy to You.
Yeah. Um. Yeah. I will have something to say on that later, but I will say, yeah, I'm surprised that's not higher. But then I think this was Valentine's Day week, so
That's
it
a
make
perfect Valentine's Day movie.
yeah, it makes sense that Isn't It Romantic is higher on the list, and I guess it makes sense that What Men Want is also high on the list. So
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
uh,
very true. Now, making its number 6 spot, which was originally at number 3, because I think everyone just really wanted to run to it to go see it because of the controversy that it had. Um, it will be with $6 million, Cold Pursuit with Liam Neeson. For those who don't know, it's basically Commuter and what's that other movie? The infamous movie that he's no one Taken. It's Taken with a Zamboni. So, Taken on Ice. It's a musical.
that's it.
Now, basically, I'm surprised this is made top 10, but make your money. It was originally number 4 last week, is now at the number 7 spot. With $5.5 million, we have The Upside that stars Bryan Cranston and Kevin Hart. Pretty decent. Yeah, okay. It seems fitting, number 7. Now, another movie I'm shocked that is still on the list, considering all the new movies that came out, especially Alita, is with 3.8 million from originally number 5 from last week to now number 8 is Glass. I think it's like the stragglers, those who are like waiting for the crowds to thin out, went to go basically see this movie. I've heard mixed things, but yeah.
Yeah, it definitely is some mixed things. So that's interesting.
Yes. So another movie that should have appeared on Netflix, and the reason why I'm saying Netflix is because I have Netflix and it's just more convenient for me to say that. Like if I just had Amazon, I would be like Amazon, but no, I have Netflix. But the number 6 spot, the number 9 spot, which originally was number 6, with 3.1 million, is The Prodigy. That's the one with the kid who may be crazy
Oh
because he's a
yeah.
genius and he's running around, possibly a serial killer. So,
Oh yeah.
yay. So, making its number 10 spot, the good old fashioned lighthearted comedy and drama, even though it won comedic awards, is your good old fashioned Less in Racism with a Car Drive with 2.7 million, Green Book. We can all come together if we just sat down and a white man taught us how to eat fried chicken. Literally.
Yeah, there it is. That's a good way to put it.
Eat your fried chicken. It looked very tasty in the movie, but all we gotta do is just together, and we'll be united as one. But really quick, at numbers 11, I'm still shocked that it's still in the theater and that it's still making money. That's how amazing it is.
What's that?
Is with 1.9 is Spider-Man into the Spider-Verse. So yay for you.
Yeah, well,
That's
that's
cool.
probably because of the they're getting ready for Oscar, so I guess they bring some of those movies
Yeah.
back to the theater
They do
for.
bring some of the movies, but yeah. Remember they're bringing back Black Panther. So
Oh yeah, I heard about that. I don't know when it's coming back, but I did hear about it.
you know what's really funny about Black Panther is that it just now celebrated its 1 year anniversary. But for me, it felt like I've seen it like maybe just because we've been so heavily involved in Black Panther,
Yeah.
and we had the dances and the movements, and the videos that came out of that, and so many different things that it just felt like it was released such a long time ago, but it's only been 1 year. So that's a really cool thing, and I'm happy about that. Oh, and also here's one of the things that's really cool, and it's really for people who could not afford to see it in the theater. So if you're like carrying around Jeff Bezos money, don't take advantage of this. Let it be for people who cannot afford to go to the theater. That's what it is intended. Okay, they are re-releasing movies. Um, it will be a screen twice a day, and it will be at 250 participating locations. So it will be free. The tickets are free, and the company, will donate 1.5 million to UNICEF, which goes to educating students.
Oh, that's excellent news.
That would be excellent. So yes. So moving on, I know that you got to see a couple movies. I saw one movie that just left me confused, but I know you saw something that was awesome.
Yeah. Well, I only saw one movie also. Even though, but I will say this very briefly. Alita: Battle Angel. There are a lot of my friends that said that they want to see the movie, but only because they have absolutely no faith that Avatar 2 will ever come out. So they decided to go see it for that reason. So
if
I
we,
want to
if
give a shout out to them.
shout out to them, and if it ever does come out, I will be very old with walkers and canes and vipers running to see. Back in my day, they just announced it. Now we finally get to live to see it when we're half dead.
Yes, absolutely. So I decided to go see Happy Death Day to You. Um, I saw that yet last night, and I have to say that I definitely enjoyed the movie. I'm not going to give away any spoilers about the movie, but I will say that in terms of what it does offer, I mean, I have to be honest. I wasn't really scared. That it wasn't really scary to me personally, but what it does have is, I mean, this movie has a lot more of a message than anything else. Um, it has, dealing with what if scenarios, and of course, it was a lot more comedic than the original movie. I mean, the original movie had some comedy in it, but this movie definitely they really played that up even more so. Um, and there also was a lot of emotional elements to the movie as well. Because yeah, they was dealing with some pretty heavy topics. So, but overall, I think it was a pretty good movie. Uh, if you was to ask me to compare this to the first movie, well, the whole thing about it is that the first movie was great. I still think the first movie is better than the sequel. But obviously, when you're making a sequel, you cannot do everything the same way. You have to do something, bring something different to the table to try to make it a different kind of experience. And I think that they were able to successfully do that with this sequel. Um, so I have to give them props on this. Uh, they did have an after credit scene, which I thought was rather
Mhm.
interesting. So I don't really know if they're going to explore more movies with these particular characters in this particular time period. I'm not sure about that, but they definitely can based on how they ended it. But I will just say overall, a very fun movie. Um, Once again, you may not be scared. You may not be scared, but the whole point is to do something different with this film. And yes, we already know that yes, there is a killer in the movie. I will not spoil who that is, but yeah,
Good.
obviously, things have changed. They're different from the first movie, and again, I really like how they handled that. But yeah, a good movie worth seeing. No doubt about it. Especially if you enjoyed the first movie, you will enjoy this movie too, definitely, without a doubt.
And there's been rumors that they're already working on the third one. Nothing
Oh,
confirmed.
really?
There are
Oh,
rumors,
really?
but nothing is confirmed.
Ah, interesting. I would be very curious to know what they're going to do with that third movie. But yeah, that's awesome. We'll see.
Yeah, we shall see it. And it could not suck. So I haven't seen it. I want to see it, but I shall wait.
but I will say this though, and I'm not going to say any spoilers, but I really do wish that the movie made more money at the box office this week because I mean it's not necessarily a Valentine's Day movie per se, but for being a new film and because I know the first film did so well, I wanted this movie to do better than it did.
Hmm.
But of course, with there being all these other movies out, the Isn't It Romantic movie, I forgot about that. And then when I went to the theater the other day, it's very weird. I'm just going to mention this. It's a little off topic, but when I went to the theater the other day, there was there was this guy that walked past me, like this huge guy, like some type of he goes to the gym or whatever, in excellent shape, whatever. Looks like the type of person when you look at him, okay, he's probably going to see the Liam Neeson movie. I thought because it was right in the same vicinity, and he ended up walking into that movie, into the Isn't It Romantic? So I said, wow, that's interesting.
Night. That date night. You gotta compromise.
Yeah. Perhaps it was that, but I laughed at that because the theater, like this movie was literally right next to the other movie, so I was like, oh yeah, he must be going. And then he walks into that. I said, yeah, that's I had to laugh at that. But yeah, a lot of movies came out this week, so I guess it makes sense that it wouldn't be higher on that list, and of course with Alita on the list. I think yeah, it was going to be hard for it to get on there, but I would have at least thought it was going to be in the top three. So I'm a little disappointed about that, but hopefully people do check it out. Those that enjoyed the first movie, definitely go check out the sequel.
This sounds good. That sounds very good. I'm excited to see it. Have
Yeah.
you seen anything else?
Oh no, that was
That
it for this week in terms of the movies. Yeah,
it was a
I'm going to go
rather
see Fighting with My Family next week. Uh, I would have saw that this week, but as I said before, it was not playing here in Atlanta for whatever reason until next week. So I'll go see that next week, and hopefully, I gotta say that again. Hopefully, it's at least in the top three, but I don't know about that. Alita will probably
um
be up there again, of course, and
yeah.
and a few other movies. So, but we'll see because there is another movie coming out next week. I can't seem to. I got to remember. It's another one of those kid movies. Um, it'll come back to me. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens next week.
The fighting with my family was just very enjoyable.
Oh
Yeah,
yes.
even if you're not a wrestling fan, it's just a really fun and funny movie. It's not necessarily original, but the way how it's done, you can still enjoy a movie that's not original.
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
And Fighting with My Family was definitely one of those movies. And the acting was really
I'm
great.
yeah. See,
And the way
I'm definitely looking forward to seeing that. And you know what? I just thought of what that other movie is that's out next weekend. So forget I
Mhm.
said Alita will be number one. That's going to go to How to Train Your Dragon because that's coming out next week. Yeah,
He's
that'll
a
be number
man
one.
now.
I'll say what?
He's a man now.
Oh yeah.
It's like,
Oh yeah. Yeah.
all right, I'm not mad. He's a man now. So that's one of the positive things But one of the movies that I got to see, and then I saw Fighting with My Family, and I liked it very much. And the acting was very good, and the story, again, not original, but it was just really fun to watch. And they have really great chemistry with each other. All of the actors and everything have really great, they're just really fun to watch. One of the movies that I did get to see, the other movies, is called Fast Color, which is unique in a weird way. It is about a family of three generations, black women, and they basically possess superpowers where they can break down any type of element until it's very singular neutron powder form. And the government has basically been after them for a very long time. And several years ago, the daughter decided that she would have to run away from home and escape and run in hopes of the government not being able to track down the family. She had another daughter, and she's been gone for a very long time. The problem that she has now is that she suffers from very violent seizures, and every time that she has a seizure, it causes an earthquake. So there have been earthquakes reported in very weird areas that would normally never get an earthquake, which then prompts the government to look into this situation. And they essentially start finding and tracking this girl who they've been trying to track for years, but they wasn't able to find her until she started with the whole seizure problem. And she's been living, you know, randomly in different locations and different spots, talking to whoever she can, just trying to just always run and escape, and she's never really been able to settle down. So she decides to return home to her mother and her daughter, and they all have the gift and the power as well, and the government again is still looking after them, is looking for them. The movie also stars David Strathairn and Lorraine Toussaint, who is just amazing in anything that she does. She like breathes, and she's amazing. It is a very beautifully done movie, and it looks like a very art house independent film. It's not perfect. There are a lot of plot holes that don't get answered. There are a lot of situations where you're like, and it kind of feels like it could have been developed a little bit more. But overall, if you're looking for like a very short indie type feel of a superhero movie, it is something that I would strongly recommend. Also, with her in her seizures, the fact that she has seizures, it kind of blocked her ability to break things apart. So her power, like the whole family, is that they can tear anything apart and put it back together again. And it's filmed very lovely. And one of the things is called reason why it's called fast color is when they're able to do that, they see these very beautiful colors in front of their faces, kind of like you ever seen like the aurora lights, so in space, and that's green hues and stuff, but this is very beautifully, and like the colors are everywhere, and it ends very open-endedly, so there really isn't that kind of conclusion to the story. You expect there to be a sequel to it, but overall I would say it's really decent. I just wouldn't rush out and pay. I know in New York City a ticket is easily between $20 to $25. I wouldn't pay that
Whoa, whoa.
amount.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah. Here, you live in Atlanta where like movie theaters are like the ticket is $3.
Oh no. Well, hey, the theater. If you want to go to a good theater, you're gonna pay at least $15 for the regular movie and about 20 and some tax for the 3D movie. So
That's amazing. Are you serious? Oh my gosh. I would love to pay that much for a movie. This is why I don't pay for movie. I just don't go to movie theaters, so I will have to pay movies. I just get press passes, and if I don't get a press pass, then I just wait until it's on DVD or a streaming service,
oh yeah.
because I don't understand. Like for me, I don't know. Like I said, I eat ramen, so the point of paying that much is just like a lot for me. So if you're not in New York City, I would definitely recommend maybe you go and sing in the movie theater, because you guys pay very cheaply for your movie tickets. It must be nice That's all I can say about that. Oh my gosh. Like many years ago, I would say probably over 10 years ago, I found a movie theater ticket and it was like sat there and like just cried on the inside, just like how cheap movies used to be, how reasonable they were. Yeah, we don't have that anymore.
Oh,
Not at all. No, not at all. So good for you guys. But that's the movie I saw this week.
yeah.
So
Yeah. Hopefully, I mean that movie is not here, so you know,
well,
we'll
it
see.
hasn't released yet. It doesn't release yet.
Oh, okay. It doesn't
So
come out until March.
yeah, it doesn't come out until March 29th. So again, that's why I saw it. It was an advanced screening for free
I got you. Okay, I got you.
because it costs a lot to pay here. But yes, that is what I saw, and yeah, that was basically it. And you only seen one movie. It was a slow movie day. Yeah, our movies are $25.29
Oh yeah, that's too much. Well, I would tell everybody.
for 3D for
Well,
3D.
I would tell everybody who lives in New York if there is any AMC theaters, you might as well get the AMC A list and
This
pay
is
to 2020. I think it's about $22 a month. You can watch up to 12 movies at any AMC theater. So that is what I have specifically because I like to go to the theaters where they have the reclining seats and all that other stuff. I don't like to go to a theater like, because don't worry, they do have cheaper theaters here in Georgia that you can go to. But no, I don't want to go to those theaters because they are easily some of the worst theaters here in Georgia. I got to go to the one with the
oh
reclining seats and all the other stuff. So yeah, that's an option for other people.
oh, those reclining seats are magical.
Yes.
They are very very special. I love them. But yeah, no, we don't have that. I mean, we have the reclining seats, but we don't have those lovely movie ticket prices. So it must be fun. And then you have to reserve your seat on top of that. And like okay, so standard is 25.29. A child is 19.29. So forbid if you have like a bunch of kids and it's like a kid movie you have to go see.
Oh hell no. That's
And
not
then
gonna work.
seniors, little old ladies who are 65, who are 60 and over. Ours is 60. So if you're 60 and over, and you want to go and see your movie, you still have to pay $19.29. So,
Hmm.
and the 25.29 is for 3D. That's egregious. That's ridiculous. So, yay for those who have money. And then don't forget if you want like the popcorn and the soda and the hot dogs and pretzels. So you're easily spending $50 if you have like a date. More than 50 because the tickets alone
Hmm.
figure are 22, that's 44 plus the change and then you got to eat. So, bless your soul and your bank account. I am jealous. But moving on, there has been a really big case this past week that has shook America and also confused a lot of people, and to deal with Jussie Smollett.
Uh-oh.
Jussie Smollett from Empire. You said, "Uh oh," indeed, "uh oh." You're like, "Uh oh." We're bracing ourselves. I actually like debated whether or not I should even say anything, just because of how what originally started as one thing is now looking like another thing. So it's just bad at this point. It started off bad, now it's just badder right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, yeah, yeah. So those who don't know, about a week ago, Jussie Smollett, who is he plays on Empire. He plays the middle child on Empire. He what he said was one night at 2 a.m. he was hungry. Okay, food, and then in the residence he was hungry. He went out to go get a sandwich. He originally was going to different places, but they were all closed, and the restaurant, not the subway train, is 24 hours. And he wanted to get a salad and pick up some food to eat. Basically, standard normal thing. He's leaving out. He got his order. He's leaving out of the restaurant. He walks away from the restaurant. To my understanding, there's a guy who shouts, Empire. So he decides he's not going to turn or look at it because they're just saying Empire. They're not even addressing him by his name. And, people yell Empire or I don't know, whatever TV show. They yell that a lot. In New York City, they do that. So that seems pretty normal. The guy then again calls him out, not necessarily calls him by his name, but throws out a lot of derogatory terms where he uses the F word. And, he is punched in the face. He said, you just sucker punched in the face. And his jerk reaction is he punched the guy back. And they start fighting. And from the opposite end, another guy. Now, these guys are dressed in basically ski masks. And, when it's really cold outside, you see the guys in ski masks. And it was very cold in Chicago that time. So he didn't think anything of it being strange. Like, oh, there's a guy in a ski mask walking down the street. It's cold. That's what people wear. He's yelled out, MAGA. This is MAGA country. And they, to him and they beat him and essentially put a rope around his neck and poured a substance on him. That was what was understood originally. And somehow there was a lot of misinformation that came about, but a lot of people originally thought that he went and walked himself to the hospital. During the attack, he was on the phone with his manager who heard the altercation happening. And, which I originally thought he did, like he walked himself to the hospital. He did not. He went home, he stated, to clean himself up and to when you're in shock and you've just been attacked, you clean yourself up, you try to figure out what just happened, settle down for a minute. And he noticed that as he's cleaning up, there was a rope around his neck. So that's when he noticed the rope that was around his neck. And he looked down in his shirt and there were spots everywhere. And they were bleached. She's like, it smells weird. It smells like bleach. So he noticed these are bleach spots. They poured bleach on me. And it wasn't right away. A couple hours passed. He called the police. And the police showed up. He said that they showed up with the body cameras. They were in the hallway. And he said, no, you have to turn your body cameras off. I'm not comfortable with this whole situation. They took down the report and everything that happened. And they asked, he's telling them a story and you're on the phone with your manager who's, who's far away, but he heard everything. So it's your phone. Not because we're necessary, but if you give us your phone, it creates a record of everything that happened. It pinpoints the time of the call. It pinpoints your location when you make a phone call, the cell towers. So it pinpoints everything. And it's able to give you an accurate look, like not accurate, but it can give you like an estimated area of where you've been. So you can narrow down the search very easily. He said he didn't want to hand over. He said, no, I'm not handing over my phone. And the reason given was that he had a lot of personal pictures on there. He had a lot of phone numbers on there. You had the cast of Empire and all of the connections that he knew. And there were a lot of songs that he had written and videos that he just didn't want. He didn't know what was happening. He didn't feel safe. He didn't know whether or not they would, release any of his information or property or try to steal something. He just didn't know. He didn't feel comfortable with it at all. So he said no. And right then, it broke news and there was this outpour of support, understandably. And Lee Daniels spoke about it. He was very angry. He was crying. And, the cast of Empire, they released a statement about it. Taraji was very upset. And other members of both political and celebrities were very angry about what happened because he was a man who was attacked for being gay and being black. And the term, this is MAGA country, was very political and very polarizing, especially when you're being attacked. And things were happening and you're doing your investigation and it was going very slow and people are like, what's going on? It's going very slow. Why is it taking so long? But they started to find information and they came across an image. It was grainy footage, but it was an image of two men who seemed to be walking down that street during the time of the attack. And people, it was originally reported that the attackers were white. They had MAGA hats on, and that, it was a racist bias attack. And so they questioned these men, and these men happened to be two Nigerian brothers who had worked on Empire. He was an extra in one of the jail scenes, and another one was Smollett's personal trainer. So he kind of knew of the guy. I mean, you're training with someone, you're gonna know who he is, and maybe he was introduced to the brother, maybe not. Then reports started coming out that just didn't really they didn't really make much sense to some people, and so it just seemed that everything just wasn't adding up. People were really analyzing his statements. There were a lot of questions that were happening that I just kind of felt that were just unnecessary. Like, why are you out at 2 a.m.? 2 a.m. is not, a late time technically to really be out. It's 2 a.m., it's 2 hours after midnight. But there were just a lot of things. Like, there was a camera where the attack happened, but it was facing another way. And people were just kind of angry about it. And they were kind of to doubt Jussie Smollett's story. And he appeared on one of the TV shows, one of the news shows, and he gave his report of what happened, and he was very emotional and he was crying. And so the police investigation recently, it came out that it's still speculatory right now. It's not like in fact and in stone. But going back to the two men that they arrested, they are saying that the brothers were paid to attack Smollett, and that they practiced and rehearsed this for a while. And according to the New York Times, that they were paid to attack him. We're not given a motive as to if this happened, why. But what kind of made investigators, look at this more important, more seriously, was the fact that they issued a raid. They raided their apartment in where they lived at, and they found bleach, they found hats, and they found the rope. And it was reported to be, very, substantial evidence, and that this was something that, it helped kind of change the direction of the investigation, where now they're looking at Smollett to see what has happened, what has really transpired during that time. Um, the Chicago Police Department, they kept updating people via Twitter. And they said, due to new evidence as a result of today's interrogations, the individuals questioned by police in Empire have now been released without charging so that without charge. They've been released, and they originally picked them up trying to get on an airplane to Nigeria. So that again made them like, why are you running from this? We're really confused. Um, Another Twitter update was that we're in a position to confirm, deny, or comment on the validity of what's been unofficially released. There are some developments in this investigation, and detectives have some follow-ups to complete, which includes speaking to the individual who reported the incident, meaning Jussie Smollett. Smollett's lawyer has issued a very strong statement in which the actor rejected any suggestion that he had any role in stating the assault on himself. And it got so far where, everyone seems to be taking sides from this. And, this has been ongoing since around January 29th when the incident happened. And this has been very divisive, and people are angry and they're very confused. And there are some people who are like, no, I don't believe this. This whole thing is just fake news in regards to this theory being that he made it all up, because he doesn't really have anything to gain from this. He has more to lose by creating this hoax than he would to gain. His career, his livelihood, everything would just be, I don't know if this was actually a hoax, if he would be able to bounce back from that. He's a very outspoken advocate, so that again would make him look negatively. and it would also hurt a lot of people who are attacked because they are black and because they are gay. So it would make them look like they're lying as well. Is there any thoughts that you have on this case?
Well, I mean, I think that you pretty much was very in depth with all of the details. Uh, all I have to say is it is very confusing. I'm definitely one of those people that is confused because I did see those guys came out and said yes that this was a staged attack, that he worked with them, so on and so forth. But I mean, I think at this point everyone is just waiting to see what happens next. I do agree that if he did stage this, yeah, I don't know how you can bounce back from something like this if you did actually have anything to do with this whole incident. But it's hard to really determine who's telling the truth, at least for now, until they actually dive deeper into this. If there's more evidence that comes out, then yeah, it will be easier to determine. But I did see the level of support that he has been getting from a lot of people throughout the industry, people in the music industry, movies, everything. So that was interesting to see. But right now, I think at this point in time, a lot of some of those same people, there may be some that say that they still support him, and they're not going to listen to this other side of the story, but there may be some that might not even say anything now until they see where this ultimately leads. So hopefully we will get to some resolutions at some point, but it's just a messy situation all over the place. So we'll see what happens. But as for him and Empire, I'm pretty sure that Fox, they are hoping that this situation does get resolved and that it's nothing that has to do with him, because that would definitely impact the show if they find out, oh, he did lie. And yeah, I'm pretty sure that would have ramifications on not only his career but also the show as well. So
on the show, yeah, a lot of people are, for now, Empire is still standing behind Jussie. So for now, until anything is actually confirmed, remember there's no charges that are being brought up right now. So it's just all about a wait and see. We're gathering as much information as we can. So even though people are very upset and they're saying that they will boycott Empire, I don't really think. Just calm down for a second, because there hasn't been anything official that is announced that stated this is really happening and he really made it up, or or even said that this is something that's real. There's just an investigation, so you have to look at this from all sides, and they could easily be lying. We do not know. So I just simply say don't rush to judgment right now. I know people who are ready to boycott. Those who are calling for a boycott, I don't really think that you watched Empire to begin with. So So yeah, just wait and see. And that's all we literally can do from this. And everyone is going to have an opinion no matter what, even if something is very confirmed. Either way, how it goes, there is going to be an opinion. So yeah, and there was one theory that came out, and remember, there are a lot of theories. Nothing is substantiated. Everything is just a source. You know that magical source that's always popping up everywhere when you read something that's unconfirmed. A source.
Oh yeah.
So the source came back, and the source is like, "Oh, well, he did it because Fox was going to basically write him off the show." But that again just doesn't really make any sense. Like, you're going to jeopardize your entire career so that you stay on one show. Yeah. It just, for me, I literally don't know. I can't take any side in this. So that is basically what's been the big news that's been involved in everyone's anyone who watches news. Is all they've been talking about is Jussie.
Yeah.
So are there any last things you would like to say?
Oh no. Just thank everybody for checking out the show. And if they have any comments they would like to make on any of the topics that we discuss, please feel free to leave the comments in the comment section below. But I don't really have anything else to add. Just thanks for watching the show. Thank you for having me on the show. Yeah, that's all I have to say.
Yeah. Well, thank you once again for listening, and thank you, Richard, for being on the show. I know you are very excited to get to this Elimination Chamber, who has been at the same match for the past 49 minutes. This is the women's Elimination Chamber match.
Oh
I
yeah.
know you're excited about that. With all of its padding and less, you know, hard hitting action that used to be from the past.
Oh yeah.
But yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Definitely.
But I definitely want to thank those that did check out the Elimination Chamber prediction show we did. We'll probably do it again for Fastlane or any of these other events. So stay tuned for more.
Yeah, we're gonna be fast on that lane. It's gonna be amazing. So yeah. So thank you for tuning in. Enjoy your weekend, enjoy your week, enjoy your life. Don't do anything illegal. And have a great day and night and afternoon time you're listening to this.
Absolutely.